Not training your people is the reason your business is stuck. You don't build a business, you build the people, and then the people build the business. So if you've been struggling to try to grow your business, you just keep falling backwards. I want to share with you what I've learned, literally hiring almost 1,000 people across my career and failing at growing in my early days because I didn't understand the principles. I'm going to teach you 4 strategies that you've never heard or considered before, because these are the things that will absolutely drive people, motivation, and for them to take the actions to help you grow your business. It'll build a team that'll get your time back to allow you to actually increase your revenue, and most importantly, create a world-class culture that can't be stopped, where people will be fighting to come work with you. Number 1 is hire and train. A lot of people, when they're hiring, they're fearful. It's like, what if I take this new person and I train them all up and I give them all of my secrets and they become incredibly talented and then they leave? What if you don't and then they stay? Most people, they spend most of their time, they spend more time on hiring and less time on actually training their people. They've got a scarcity mindset. They're just worried. It's like, oh, all this energy and time put into this person is gonna be lost because I don't control it, I don't keep it. So they try to keep all their secrets. And that was me. When I started my company, Spheric Technologies, I would literally give each person just enough to do the job and nothing more. And yet I was frustrated every time somebody didn't come up with an innovative idea or solve a problem on their own, or I felt like they didn't show up the way I was, and I was always pulling them forward, but I wasn't actually training them to think this way. I wasn't asking of them. I wasn't sharing with them what I knew. So they were just showing up the way they thought was right based on the lack of information, lack of motivation, lack of drive that I was bringing to their work. I was literally saying, hey, can you just come up and do the stuff, but then not bug anybody else? If you hire people and don't train them, that you will absolutely be hitting the ceiling of their capacity based on the limited information that you're giving them. They will never be able to break through from that limited ceiling. Number 2 is aligned goals. When I interview people, and I do dozens of interviews per week, one of my favorite questions to ask them is, in 10 years, we can't be working together. So that takes that off the table. And you can kind of dream a little bit and be as descriptive as possible. When you fast forward 10 years and you've given yourself permission to set some crazy goals and to just live this, unshackled life, what does your life look like in 10 years? And be specific about where you're living and who you're working with and what type of work you're doing, etc. And that answer is just so powerful because it gives me a glimpse into their future, what they think is the best possible outcome, their aligned goals. And the best scenario is when I hear somebody explain to me the thing they want to achieve for themselves, that they inherently will want to drive towards, that I need in my business. That opportunity of having them express to me the vision for their life that's aligned with what I need in my business for them to go create over the next 5, 7, 8 years. That is the most beautiful thing. So most people that hire never understand what is driving the deep desires of your team members. Where does their life, their dreams, their aspirations, what do they look like? And it's so funny because I don't think a lot of people have somebody in their corner, their quarterback, that understands what their dreams are. It's very rare that in a professional situation that we are asked these questions to allow them to explore the possibility. The crazy part sometimes is people don't even know what their 10-year vision is. But if it's aligned with what you need from them in your business, I'm telling you, you won't have to motivate. You won't have to push. They will just show up to learn, and you can give them so much more responsibility and accountability to accomplish things because you know that inherently they're driven to that same outcome. Number 3, learning and development plans. It's one thing to understand where somebody wants to go, but more importantly for me is when I have direct reports or I'm developing teams, I'm always looking for ways that I can build a path for them to grow. Oftentimes when I first started, I just didn't understand this concept. I didn't create a learning path. I just said, hey, here's the things I want you to take over, do them. And I never stopped and said like, well, what are the skills they'd actually have to develop so that they could be successful executing that request? Actually, I have a team member on my team. He's amazing. He's been with me for a few years now. And I was just like feeling like there was more, that he wanted to give more, and kind of asked him like, what's your vision for your life? And like, remind me what that looks like, to get him connected with it. And I knew that the response was going to allow me to then ask, hey, do you want more responsibility? Do you want to step up? Do you want to be pushed? Do you want to be coached? Do you want to be put in an environment where, you know, you got to perform? And the cool part is I knew before I even offered the opportunity that was going to be his response. He had already shown me through the work that was the kind of person he was. And then from there, we can start building a plan. We can set up a reoccurring meeting. We can talk about some training, some events, some people you need to meet. I mean, one of the big opportunities for all of you guys watching is opening up your personal network to your team. You know all these people that can actually do the work that you're asking of your team, but I don't know why. Some of you guys, maybe it's you don't want to ask for the favor, or you're worried that the person's going to go out there and meet somebody and maybe decide to go do something with somebody else. Again, it's that scarcity mindset, that fear-driven actions. And I'm a big fan of just giving the person all the resources that you have in your powers to give so that they can be successful. And for me, that meant sending him to a training, sending him to a seminar, getting him connected with somebody that was world-class in his space. And because he had those connections, now he brings that back to the team. It is one of the most powerful things, is to create a learning path for your team members. Number 4 is leadership ceiling. One of the things I learned a long time ago is no business will grow past the growth of the leader. So if you want to grow your business, if you want to increase your revenue, reduce your churn, expand your revenue, whatever it is, create more value for your customers, you need to look yourself in the mirror and go, who do I need to become so that I can grow? Because your rest of your team is going to be held back by that. You don't currently have the leadership skills to build the business you have in your mind, because if you did, it would be here. So if you want to build a $100 million a year company, you need to become a $100 million a year leader. You need to show up. You need to go first. You need to grow and invest in yourself and be the example and hold the standard and share those lessons so the rest of the team can be inspired. At the end of the day, your dreams need to be so big that everybody else's dreams fit inside of them. And if they don't have an understanding of where you want to go, it's going to be really hard for you to pull them forward. So if you're not investing in yourself, if you're not growing, but you expect your team to do this, that is a big, hard problem.